Okay, Antelope Audio guys. I'm going to try to not get too long-winded about this, but I think this is really important. Um, First off, I fucking love everything about Antelope Audio. I love your whole platform. I'm just so in love. I've got an Orion 32 HD here that sounds shit hot. 32 analog ins and outs. I've always wanted. I absolutely just love it. The routing options boggle the mind. And it's become very, very inspirational for me. Like I'm able to, for instance, I've got a headphone amp in my control room, and I'm able to solo all my synthesizer inputs to that headphone amp before Pro Tools. So anyone can walk into my control room and sit down and put on a pair of headphones and sit down in front of anything and just start playing, start fiddling around, right? And it's very, very, very inspirational. Musicians love that shit. It's super cool. Everyone, or if I can be working on something over here, and someone can just go sit down on a Moog or something and just fiddle. It's musicians love to fiddle. It's very, very, very cool. That's only one example of probably 12 of ways that this deep routing within this like redundant routing in the Orion, the Antelope control panel is just kick ass. Absolutely love it. Um, but I'm making this video because I want to really deeply explain a thing that I think is, if you could fix this basically this needs to be fixed. It's sloppy, and me and guys like me who come from an analog sensibility, um, it just can't be. Like I really, really feel it in my heart. I need to help you guys sort this out because it's a sort of a no-go for a lot of my friends. Like I've got a buddy named Husky who's made a shitload of records. He's very interested in getting into the Orion world, but this is, there's some small things that are nearly a no start for him, and this is one of them. And I don't know, I can't overstate this, so I'm just going to go through it real quick. I've got a little test here. That's a Pro Tools session. I'm going to spit. I've got a little oscillator over here spitting zero VU, a sine wave at zero VU or 1.23 volts into a track with a meter on it. And we're just going to go through the plugins. And my main beef is that when you instantiate a plugin, there can't be a tremendous gain loss or a gain boost, especially. Um, there just can't be. It makes it so I can't use your tool. Like, I've got guys in the room. I've oftentimes, if I'm not mixing, then I'm recording. And if I'm recording, I've got 5 or 6 dudes in a room with loud ass headphones on. And if I click open your 1176 and it's 9 dB hotter, the guy's playing his bass. I'm like, hold on, let me put your BA6A on. Click it on, and suddenly it's 9 dB hotter. It fucking hurts that guy, right? That guy's pissed off at me because I've hurt him by blasting him with his own bass, right? It can't be. When you open a plugin, it has to open at unity gain. Has to. Uh, the other example is you're mixing. I'm going on mixing, right? Working on a song. Maybe I'm monitoring kind of loud, maybe even half loud. But I can't have to stop to turn on your plugin and then turn it down and then hit play again and then find, because in that situation, if I'm mixing along and I crack open your plugin and suddenly the bass is 9 dB louder, I'm going to hurt my speakers. These are $3,000 speakers. I don't want to fuck them up, right? A plugin can't open to a place that's anything other than unity gain, than the same volume as what's coming in. It has to be. Okay. So I'm sorry if I overstate. I feel passionately about this stuff. So let's go through your plugins, and I do think, I think a lot of the plugins really sound good, really good. But let's find settings for each one that make sense. Okay, let's just go through these. Let's do it. It's no big deal. So I'm gonna get first off. Let's open a window. Oh, here's my other beef. Sorry, I got beefs. These AFX lanes, a lot of what I do is not in stereo. If I've got a vocal or a bass guitar, or there's 1,000, just mono things, and I'm recording through your AFX lanes, which is the whole point. Like I love the idea that I can record through your plugins on the way into Pro Tools and commit a sound like a grown up, right? But I have to, in order to do that, when I've got guys in the room recording, I have to have eyes on meters, and I've got to have, if I've got your, regardless of what it is, if I've got 3 or 4 compressors going on the way into Pro Tools, I need all 3 or 4 compressors on another display over here so I can look over and see what the hell's going on. For a long time, I didn't realize you could detach these things, and so I just didn't use them. But now I've learned you could detach them, which is great. But the trouble is they're detaching in pairs. And so if I've got, let's say, and very likely I might have let's say I've got a bass DI and amp on 1 and 2. That's usually where I put bass DI and amp. I have to tab back and forth to look at input 1 and input 2. That sucks. If AFX lanes are not linked, I should be able to, if they're not linked, right, I should be able to click open one and still have 2 here available to click open in a separate plugin. Has to be that way. If they're linked, it makes perfect sense to click open as a pair, of course, right? But if they aren't linked, there's no reason for them to click open as a pair like that. Sucks. Okay, so that. So what I've got cooking here is okay, I'm gonna get rid of this window. So on my input 9 to Pro Tools, will I close the session here? Input 9 to Pro Tools, I've got an oscillator, okay? Boom. And it's got a 0 VU-ish. The oscillator has also got a little 60 cycle hum because it's this old Heathkit tube oscillator because I just roll like that. But excuse the hum if you can hear it. So yeah, that. Let's just go through them. I mean, and like I say, when I open a plugin, my meter should be around 0. It should be, it just has to be that way or shit's unusable, all right? So I've done this test already. All these EQs are great. Everything's great with the EQs. It's a compression problem. So this first one, I hate to start with this one because it's probably the worst offender. But when I crack it open, what the fuck? Minus 15 dB. What on earth? Okay. So that's terrible. But what's even worse is that I've known no fewer than, I don't know, 50 Blackface 1176s, 100. I don't even know. But none of them work like this. Like with 1176, your input at 30, your output at 18. And my default state's always kind of like that. I should have 0 VU-ish coming out. I should be right about at the threshold where we're going to start kicking back. With this thing, I've got to like get all the way up to kind of here before I start seeing any kickback. And then I got to turn the output up like that to get, this is not how 1176 works. This is just, this isn't working, okay? So that, gain structure wise, no bueno. Okay, next one. So, okay, the DBX, super. Crack it open. I've got no gain or loss. Let's give it a little ratio and bring the threshold down. That's about how I know when to act. That's exactly how I know when to act. A little bit of makeup gain as you're pushing back. This thing's knocked out of the park. This is exactly what one would expect. Fucking excellent. Next one. We're going to go through all these. Next one. Okay, so DBX 160. I'll give it a little compression, pull down a little threshold. I'll buy that. I'll 100% buy this. This is what you expect. That's exactly what I'd expect. Fucking love it. So this Liverpool thing, I don't know what this is emulating. I don't know this piece, the hardware piece of this, but dude, do I have like 6 dB? I don't even know how much dB of how much boost that is. But I just hurt somebody in headphones, right? I hurt a friend of mine who's now angry at me on the other side of the glass because I just hurt them in their headphones. Can't do it. It can't, you cannot, that can't be. No good. Again, same thing, right? I don't know this hardware. This thing might sound shit hot. I can't use it because if I instantiate it, I've hurt my friend. Okay, I can't overstate it. Unity gain. Every plugin in the world defaults to Unity Gain or thereabouts. Steven Slate, like some of these guys have a little habit of like having their plugin have a little 2 dB boost or so when you instantiate it, and that way dummies open their plugin and go, "Ooh, it already sounds better." That's a whole other talk. But I'll even take that. I'll take a dB, you know. But this is too much. This it's not usable. I'll stop saying it. But I can't use it. Okay, so next one, Generatex. Okay, so now let me say this. I really like this emulation a lot. Oh, and this is what I found with it. If immediately when you click it open, if you put it to 4:1, look, it acts exactly how I expected. This is about where I know the threshold to act. This is about where I like. This is great. I love everything about it now, as long as I'm not in 2:1 where I seem to lose 5 dB. But in other ratios, sorry. Oh, but it went wacky and, oh, but see, why is the ratio affecting the output? The ratio shouldn't affect the output, okay? But just, you know, in 4:1 mode, it acts the way I would expect it to act. In these other modes, shit's getting weird, so maybe that might be something to look at. But I do think the emulation sounds pretty good. Okay, stay level. Fuck, I just hurt my friend. Holy shit. But you know, the truth is, yeah, so everyone modifies their stay level, right? This acts like one that someone put about a 40 dB pad in front of, or 30 dB pad in front of, where you kind of get up near the top of the knob to start getting some kickback. But if it could just default to a setting of about what I have here, that'd be great. That's all it needs, I think. But it can't be open enough the way it is now and blowing my drivers out of the fucking sockets. Let's keep going. Stay level. So the Altec, I've known a lot of these Altecs. I like where it starts kicking back, but I would just make its starting or its default point just back off the gain reduction a little bit. You know, I feel like unlike other plugins, I think you guys as plugins seem to default to a place where all the knobs look right, or it's like graphically correct. Stop that. Fuck that. Just make it default to a place that is correct, you know, that's usable. So just because the output level's down a little bit here, no one gives a shit about that. The truth is I can use it. So this would be a great starting place for this plugin. The Altec. Then the oh sorry. Oh, I'm feeling it. Feeling it a lot. This one seems, I'd call this perfect. Usually I'd put that in this release. You know, I would always start with the release on fast just because. But yeah, this seems totally fine. I don't think you need to change this at all. It seems good. I like the simulation too. It reminds me of one. And then that was the Summit. Holy shit. No. No. So again, you know, on 1178 as well, everyone I've known, you kind of end up at, you know, sorry, 10 and 2 with the input and output, and that should be about unity gain. And I don't know what this nonsense is. This is craziness. I've got, but to get some kickback, I got to get all the way up to like 18 or 12. Turn the output way down. It doesn't, this is not how an 1178 acts. Whoa. That, I don't know what's going on with this thing. And then, okay, the BA6A. So this BA6A, I'm just insane about. I absolutely love the way it sounds. There are no other BA6As on market that I know of. This is fucking fabulous, you guys. But please, please, can it default to this setting, right? So that I've got 0 coming out and just beginning to kick back. That's all I want. It's important. I can't be hurting my friends. The Fairchild. It's a little warm when you instantiate it, but usually, so fair children it's usually kind of, yeah, the knobs act the way that a real one would for sure, which is great. But I would just adjust the output gain so that when I click it on, it's unity gain. Please, I beg you. Same thing. So this distressor. All right. So the cool thing about a distressor that is that, you know, especially a distressor, I know that if I'm at some studio, I can ask the assistant to patch it and I can holler, just put it at 5615, meaning 5615, fast release, slowish attack. And I know that if my input and output knobs are straight up at 5 each, it's unity gain. This is not that. And I'm not hitting the compressor yet. Like like I gotta crank the input to fucking way up to hit it and then turn the output. Dude, that's not the way distressor acts. That's ridiculous. Gotta sort that out. Oh, but I don't have any ratio on. Let's see if it changes. Sorry. No. Same problem. So this, yeah, I don't know. That's not a distressor to me. I don't know what that is. So anyway, that's that. You know, the truth is I love a lot of your EQs. They all default to a good spot, you know. I love that they default to the EQ already engaged. It's important. But that's pretty much all I've got for you. I hope I don't sound like an asshole or like a know-it-all dick, because that's not my intention. My intention is to be helpful and to make something that's already really badass even more usable, you know. And I really do mean that. But these changes have to happen. They really, really do, in my opinion. So anyway, thanks for watching. That's what I got. Bye.